I see something long absent in the sunken faces of passers-by. A glimmer of hope.
Hello, everyone. Science Viking here, and it's time to return to Darkest Dungeon. And not only that, but I'm actually planning a run at the Darkest Dungeon itself. You see, we have a bumper crop, so supplies cost nothing this week, which means that I can afford to outfit my Darkest Dungeon team pretty much as well as possible, and if they fail, which it's my first run at this instance of the Darkest Dungeon, so that's pretty likely, I can still repair the damage and bring in I can still have enough gold to outfit a new team to rebuild. So, how do I want to do this? What team composition do I want to go for? I think I've decided what I'm going to use. So, I won't, but we're going to bring Canuville, Talvis all the way in the back, Sasset, and Gilpin. That's going to be my team for this mission. Now, you're all fully upgraded. You're not, actually. I can afford to spend a bit of gold doing this. Let's upgrade Talvis's healing abilities all the way. And Talvis is in pure healer mode, so she gets the Tome of Holy Healing and Sacred Scroll. Canuville, yeah, his abilities are actually fully upgraded, as they should be. Let's see. Dark Tambourine could be helpful, but the Bright Tambourine is much more useful because it increases the power of his stress skills. Also, let me see something. So, he also takes reduced stress if the torch level is above 75. Yeah, so Harvest and Slice Off are melee abilities. Thing is, they're mostly, what's the word? Damage over time abilities. Damage over time. That's the phrase I'm looking for. Okay. However, I forgot to unequip all trinkets before I did this, and now I need to start over. Shout out to XCOM for letting you unequip only trinkets from inactive characters. However, I don't know, the Ancestor's Pen is okay, but the Jester mostly inflicts damage over time. So it might be better to give him something else. Let's see. Plus 50%. I could actually give him the Siren's Conch, which also reduces his stress intake even further. The significance of this being that if he has low stress, he can then use his stress abilities to reduce everyone else's stress. Now I should re-equip the Vestal. Alright, now for the Crusader. I have a plan. This will reduce his bleed resistance, which is not ideal, but we can tolerate that. And I'm also equipping him with the Tentacle Idol, so he has plus 35% virtue chance. So in case stress gets overwhelmed, and so in case I can't keep the stress managed, we have a fallback position for at least one hero. Get the Rampart Shield, and as always, the Flesh's Heart. For the Man-at-Arms. Actually, on second thought, I'm not bringing a Man-at-Arms with equipment upgraded to level 3. Okay, I actually have to open the inventory to take his equipment away. I've never tried to do this before. Scroll all the way to the bottom to drag the equipment into an empty space. I'm not bringing a Man-at-Arms with that low of a resolve level. We're bringing somebody else. And I'm actually going to have that somebody else be a Hellion with fully upgraded equipment and abilities. Except if it bleeds an Adrenaline Rush. Which we can live without. Now, T-Nell You get the Ancestor's Pen, and while I'm at it, I'll also give you the Martyr's Seal. Okay, now we have a team that's actually outfitted to take on the Darkest Dungeon. And yeah, unfortunately we might... What? This is new. Thank you for reminding me that I need to pay attention to camping skills. Though I'd say the camping skills are pretty much good, except I'm going to trade Reject the Gods for Sharpened Spear. 4 firewood. Okay. Well, supplies cost nothing for this mission, so I have no reason not to take every single stack of food he's willing to sell me. I have no reason not to take all of the torches. Frankly, if you keep flickering like that, I'm just going to clean you out. As well as all the bandages and all the anti-venom. There's no way to take the... There's no way not to have the medicinal herbs or the holy water. So... Okay, so let's not bring the stack of 6 food to bring more anti-venom. And... I have access to Dazzling Light. I do not need 3 stacks of torches. So the remainder will be... bandages or anti-venom, which is more useful? I want the bandages. So, yeah. 4 firewood, 36 food. And... that should be good. Now the thing is, it costs food to make camp, but the most it can possibly cost is 8. And 8 times 4 is 32. So we can get hunger once and feast 4 times with this amount of food. Alright. I'm really glad I'm doing this mission when we have a bumper crop, because we're going to need to bring a lot of everything. And let us begin.
The interminable stone holds are but an antechamber. The creature is vast beyond measure, and must be battled from within. Step over the threshold, and let the terrible truth worm its way into your mind.
Prepare yourself for the longest, most grueling quest of your campaign.
The Gateless Gate. A maddening aperture to realms beyond human understanding.
We're inside the creature, aren't we? We are inside of the monster that's been causing all of this. Wow. This is kind of like when we, in System Shock 2, when we finally just injected ourselves into the heart of the many. So, who knew being inside of giant flesh monsters would become a theme on this channel? Or would have guessed that? Okay, and we have some enemies. They're flesh hounds. Let's see, Harvest does a lot. So, especially when it gets a critical. Truly amusing. Whoa. Unfortunately, Nash also does a lot. Or at least when it gets a critical. Fetch isn't really a big deal. Okay, the stun part of Fetch is in fact a big deal. Let's go for a Divine Grace, get him back up to full power, or close to full power. Let's see. Yeah, we can hack this one, and it will still take a while for it to finish bleeding out. However, now I can focus on this one with Slice Off. I am going to have to tolerate the continued existence of the Flesh Hounds for just a little while. The continued existence of the rear Flesh Hounds, that is, while we focus on the front ones. Let the Vestal continue to do what she specializes in. Alright, Alright, that leaves us with just the front runners left to deal with. Well, not the best opening. Alright, they're eldritch and beasts, they're not unholy. They're looking pretty unholy to me, though.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
And yep, I'm already breaking out Inspiring Tune, because frankly we need all the stress reduction we can get. I do feel like ending this fight with full health, though, so let's break out Divine Comfort.
The slow death.
And now we just need to deal with the one remaining Flesh Hound.
Unforgiving.
Unfortunately, our Hellion is having some accuracy issues. There we go. That's the kind of thing you're supposed to be doing. Inspiring Tune on the Hellion this time. Get her stress all the way down to 0. And kill the enemy with Dazzling Light.
Destroy them all.
Activate one Locust Beacon. So... I just realized I didn't check the objective until just now. So... there just is a thing somewhere in this dungeon that we need to activate. And this dungeon, in all probability, is going to be a giant maze. Not to mention the fact that I can't... Scouting won't tell me that whether the rooms I haven't been to yet contain the Locust Beacon. Mammoth Cyst and White Cell Stalk. So, Mammoth Cyst has a lot of hit points. The White Cell Stalk can't be reached except by Judgment and Iron Swan. How do I want to do this? Let's start with Battle Ballad. I'm going to gamble that the White Cell Stalk has useful abilities we'd like to prevent the enemy from using. I realize it has high stun resistance, and that it gets 2 actions, so it can only be partially stunned. Displaced. I figured that would be a movement ability. Bulging Gaze. So, like Revelation, but not as much, basically.
Nerves and panic.
Alright, one more hit and the White Cell Stalk will be gone. Digestion. Who here is surprised that Digestion inflicts, light?
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
Okay. Just gonna stick with Battle Ballad for a minute. Okay, so it can resummon the White Cell Stalk, but that does consume one of its only 2 actions per the round. And Stunning will consume its other action for the round. Well, in that case, we've buffed everybody up enough. Let's kill the Mammoth Cyst. Alright, I don't have If It Bleeds, but I do have Wicked Hack with a 42% critical rate. Sticking with Dazzling Light, mainly because it produces light. And 147% stun resistance. It's time for some smiting. Only 25% protection and we're doing such little damage. This is what happens when we don't bring a heavy hitter. Yeah, the White Cell Stalk hasn't really done anything too bad yet. It's the cyst itself that's the problem. But we're essentially fighting this creature's immune system. Right, slice off. Its bleed resistance is relatively low, so it shouldn't take too many tries to make it bleed. And plus 33% damage versus bleeding. I don't know what caused that, but I am not complaining. Didn't do a whole lot of good, though. Alright. Now it's time for the Vestal to stop healing the light level and start healing her teammates. Alright. Yeah, this thing is just... This is a serious problem. Though, I'm going to interpret the presence of the Mammoth Cyst as an... Oh, okay, that is not good. We can out-damage it, but it is still not good. This is just, no matter how you slice it, this is a tough team to get past. Stick with slice off. Okay, slice off is just not doing enough. I have a better plan. First we get some anti-venom. The plan doesn't really involve Gilpin doing anything different. Revivify? It can also heal itself. Well, we can heal ourselves too. Okay, this thing is going to be tough to get rid of. Oh, and like Stress Wave, Bulging Gaze isn't required to only target one person. Except, unlike Stress Wave, it also causes damage. Alright. There's really only one thing we can do then. Battle Ballad. One of the things it boosts is critical rate. We need to outdamage the healing. So of course it targets him with Displace to try to prevent him from doing so. 11-21 without a critical, but with a critical we can one-shot it. That's basically the best idea I've got. That prevents the cyst from getting a turn, that prevents the white cell stalk from getting a turn, and also forces the cyst to spend its turn replacing the white cell stalk. I need critical hits to one-shot the white cell stalk, but increased critical rate thanks to Battle Ballad will make that happen. In addition to that, we need to out-heal the, frankly, terrifying amounts of damage this thing is putting out. Well, critical hit rate applies to healing, too.
Compassion
Fortunately,
is a
not this
rarity
turn.
in the fevered pitch of battle.
Alright, let's see if we can combine that with Stunning Blow. 98% resistance to stun, so our chances of stunning him are relatively low. Yeah, he uses Summon, but the thing is, every time he uses Summon, that's a turn that he doesn't do anything else. Or that he does only one thing else. Keep the Battle Ballad going. Plus 18% critical. And now we're starting to get critical healing, too.
Dated.
Yeah, we're starting to get turns where the Hellion has a greater than 50% critical chance. Unfortunately, it is very hard to outdamage Revivify. Or Revivify. I mean, if we can't kill this thing, we're done. If we can't kill this thing, we just lose.
A time to perform beyond one's limits.
Oh, come on. 55% critical chance and it still doesn't.
The wounds of war can be healed.
Well, I mean, 55% means a
But never
45%
hidden.
chance not to critical. Alright. Yeah, if this mission fails, the next team is going to be a Mark Exploitation team. Teleport? Okay. We're in a different
The wounds of
room
war
now.
can be healed, but never hidden.
Okay, that's new. That's new. So one of the white cell stalk's abilities is to transport us to a different part of the dungeon.
A dizzying blow to body and brain.
Ooh, yes, that's quite a blow. Okay, they're focusing on the Jester. Fortunately, he's rather nimble. Unfortunately, he's not nimble enough. Okay, I need the
becoming unwound.
I need him not to die.
Another life wasted.
I had
in
to
the
open my
pursuit of
mouth.
Glory.
I had to open my mouth. So let's get rid of that.
As the fiend falls, a faint hope blossoms.
Dazzle the one that hasn't gotten its action yet. You are damned. And smite the one that isn't stunned. Vanish is just a movement ability. Unfortunately, it's a successful movement ability.
Compassion is a rarity in the fevered pitch of battle. Confidence surges as the enemy
And
crumbles.
Tino decided to get some payback for being forcibly displaced.
Their formation is broken.
Let's drop the unnecessary stuff for the trinkets. Well, I'm beginning to have an understanding of how gigantic this dungeon is. I'm not giving up yet, so let's make camp. Get the stress levels a little lower.
Huddled together, furtive and vulnerable. Rats in a maze.
Alright, I don't need to worry about Zealous Vigil because, what are they called? Nighttime ambushes can't happen in the darkest dungeon. Usually just prey on these two. And Zealous Speech. Okay, the stress is at least under control, in spite of the fatality.
The light, the promise of safety.
That was partially skill and partially luck. I did not have the firepower to take down the massive cyst, and that's a large part of what got us into this situation. On the other hand, I also, bear in mind, that was the first death blow check that we had this mission, and it was failed. We kind of beat the odds a little bit with that one. Anyway, more of these things. Basically fighting the creature's immune system at this point. So are you guys B cells or T cells? Right. Dazzling light on the one that hasn't acted yet. See if we can deny the enemy turns. Right. 9 to 17 to smite. Which means we can't two-shot this thing without a critical. We can three-shot it, however. So they have both Banish and Fetch, so they're just going to be constantly rearranging our team. I wonder if I should have just gone for Smite to try to finish off the Flesh Hounds farthest forward. Also, an interesting thing to note about this mission so far. No cultists. We haven't encountered anything that is or ever was human. We're going to let the Crusader finish the job, and this is why we don't let Crusaders finish jobs. But there's no cultists here. It's all various kinds of flesh monsters. It's kind of an interesting thing. Like, we've moved past the human portion of our enemies.
Well struck.
And Tino getting a rather timely critical hit. Alright, I'm just gonna go with Divine Comfort for now. And he has 7 hit points. Zealous Accusation has only a small chance to not kill. I'll take the risk. And with that corpse in the position that it's in, I can just keep the formation the way that it is and let Tino use if it bleeds. Of course, if the Vestal gets knocked into position 1, that becomes untenable. Anti-Venom, and if it bleeds. We're in a situation where everybody needs healing, so I'd be using Divine Comfort anyway. Okay. That leaves just 1 polyp left. Unfortunately, the flying polyps are pretty fragile. Okay, now you move forward 1. At least get everybody's health back up to full. And I'm actually going for Inspiring Cry for the combination of the torch level boost and the stress reduction. Please succeed in moving her. Please succeed. Thank you! Thank you. You just shuffled us back to the way we wanted to be. See if we can dazzle the polyp. Alright, and remove 1 corpse. We still want one of them to stick around. Is that a brain that's emitting the phlegm? That's kind of weird. What am I saying? Everything in this dungeon is weird. We're inside a giant flesh monster. Again.
Success so clearly in view.
In case anyone's wondering, part of the reason why...
merely a trick of the light?
Part of the reason why I haven't retreated yet, antibody. That's a new one. It's different from the white cell stock, but not a huge amount. Antibody lost and looking for its antigen. Finally, the accuracy issues are to my benefit. They all managed to miss. But part of the reason why I'm continuing right now is because I want to map out as much of this dungeon as I can. I know I don't get to keep the map for the next round, but I can at least remember it. And so I can have a more general idea of where stuff is. Okay, apparently we're having accuracy issues too. 11 to 21 without a critical, or just barely not enough to kill with a critical. Alright, round 2. No surprise the hounds go first. Hounds always go first. You know, the music in this area sounds kind of similar to the Darkspawn theme from Dragon Age Origins. I really should not have expected that to work. It does sound... It's not the same, but it has some kind of similar elements to the theme you get when you're fighting Darkspawn in Dragon Age Origins. It's not a complaint, that's a good theme.
Impressive.
Frankly, all the music in this game is good. Okay, I feel like accusations of heresy have lost all meaning at this point, but Zealous Accusation still does damage, so let's go for it. Alright, I congratulate them on their target selection, recognizing the Vestal as the most necessary member of this team. Just quick get some broad spectrum healing. And, yeah, I see the Zealous Accusations have kind of lost their meaning at this point. Okay, fetch, and it's on the right target this time, too. And combined with a stun means that getting back into formation is not going to be easy. However,
A devastating blow.
that takes care of the problem. I'm actually going for Inspiring Cry now. Because the Flesh Hound, yeah, the Flesh Hound will die from bleeding.
On its own.
Get everybody back into formation. Have we reached the bottom of the dungeon? Because it looks very much like we've reached the bottom of the dungeon. I think we can survive at least one more room without resting up. Got some hunger, which is actually slightly to my advantage because it gets some healing. And the fatality, the one bit of good news associated with that is that at least the food will stretch farther. Okay, we aren't at the lowest point yet. This really looks like a dead end, but I'm actually going to investigate it anyway just in case. Thing is, I really have no basis for where I would expect the Locust Beacon to be, other than... The only real idea I have about that is I would expect the Locust Beacon to be very far away from where we started. The Vanishing Cough. Oh, that's not good.
Teetering on the brink, facing the abyss.
Okay, stress, death. Okay, no. The good news is no, no damage over time. So she still has the mortality debuff now, but we can at least get her some healing. Smite might kill. Oh, and Smite has decided to work overtime. I banish thee. Okay, now we're just down to the polyps. The polyps are bad, but we can tolerate them. Yeah, the coughing polyps. Not only that, but Violent Hack does seem to be less dangerous than their other abilities. It's kind of like Bayonet Stab. Alright. If it bleeds... It apparently does not bleed. The guy with the highest virtue chance also has the lowest stress, because of course he does. Okay, so they're required to use Violent Hack if they're in the frontmost position. And yeah, the enemy is weak enough that I am focusing on managing stress right now.
Decimated.
And what manages stress better than critical hits? Of course, it's not just stress that I'm managing, but also the torch level. In fact, this thing can only use Violent Hack, which does almost nothing. I can afford to just kind of let this thing live for a couple of turns while I heal everyone up. And replenish the torch level. Woo! Violent Hack managed to do 1 damage. Impressive.
Annihilated.
And so, of course, Wicked Hack did 31.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
Okay, so I was correct that this is a dead end, but that's actually not entirely bad. No, seriously, it's not entirely bad, because we managed to replenish the torch level, reduce the stress levels, and heal everyone, because that, being a fight, meant we could use our combat skills. So a fight that rewarded us with nothing still managed to be a good thing. Thing is, I'm starting to suspect that the Locust Beacon is actually around here somewhere. But I'm going to explore this area a bit more thoroughly before I conclude where the Locust Beacon is. I suppose it could be that it was being guarded by this hallway battle. Alright, let's go for healing for now. Actually, in hindsight, I probably should have just moved the Hellion. Yeah, I can still reach this antibody. The antibodies are the real threat. As we can see. Alright. Stun resistance is pretty high. I'm going for Smite, and it's immaterial because it missed. Please work, please knock her back, please knock her back. Thank you!
And now, the true test. Hold fast, or expire.
Well, she's still stunned, so... Alright. Stick with if it bleeds on this one. Let's see. Wicked Hack won't kill it without a critical, and if it bleeds, gets a critical, it has a reasonable chance of killing anyway. Alright. Please don't target the Vestal, please don't target the Vestal, please don't target the Vestal. Okay, she survived at least. Okay, she has the stun resistance buff, but I'm just going to go for Inspiring Cry, so she's not on death's door, adding 1 extra hit that she can survive. Okay, critical banish, and it still failed to knock her back, so it didn't do the one thing that would have been helpful. And now stunning secretion yet again. Okay, it's a credit to Talvis's death blow resistance. She has at least been holding up very well under this unrelenting assault. And she managed to dodge. That was clutch right there.
A momentary abatement.
It's also worth taking a moment to appreciate that at the very least, no one is afflicted. Okay, that's 1 antibody gone. The main issue is the enemy in this area. These enemies are really fast. And of course, that's the banish that misses. Well, preventing the damage is good. Do I want... I have an idea. Start with Adrenaline Rush. I can only move the Vestal back 1, so the plan didn't work. I was hoping to move the Vestal instead of the Hellion, which would still push the Hellion forward. Alright, we need the antibody to be stunned. And Gilpin delivers. These guys are just in shuffle mode. The enemies were all apparently set to shuffle. And again, they decided to prove me wrong the moment I say something about them.
The blood
No option
quickens.
other than moving the Vestal back. But now I can move the Crusader forward, and the Vestal is back in formation for a brief moment.
Such a
And watch
terrible
that
assault
change. Yep.
will not be left unanswered.
Our move resistance is just too damn low. I need to do something
Perched
about
at the
that.
very precipice of oblivion.
Anti-Venom. Wicked Hack. Please make this thing die. Almost. Almost, but not quite. Well, I can at least use Divine Comfort. That will also get the Vestal off of Death's Door. And I can get us back into formation momentarily. And banish again. Oh, and this time it knocks her back 2 positions. Just stick with healing. Once the antibody is gone, we're in significantly better shape. Because these guys now, one of them will always have to use Violent Hack. And on some turns, both of them will be forced to use Violent Hack. And once they're forced to use Violent Hack, we can handle them a little bit better. We can out-heal Violent Hack. Alright. I know it looks bad, but we can make it through this. However, I think Holy Lance is going to need to be equipped, given all the shuffling that keeps happening to us. Divine Comfort once more. And now that we're starting to want to heal individuals, I'm repositioning. Alright, that leaves just one, and all it can do is Violent Hack. Of course, the downside is, since this is turn number 10, we really need to end this fight, or reinforcements will arrive. Assuming that's something that can still happen.
Restored.
Oh, jealous accusation. And, of course, it missed the living one. Oh, the good news is he's reduced to just ineptly coughing.
This expedition at least.
I think we're going to need to make
success.
camp in the next room that we come to. Also, I noticed the last time we made camp, resting didn't actually restore the torch level to full. But we have 3 more firewoods. I think we can afford to use 1. Definitely have enough food for another
tenuous
feast.
firelight and uneasy companionship.
Alright. Zealous Speech. Reduce everyone's stress. Encourage on the Vestal. Encourage again on the Vestal. And Sharpen Spear, because I need the Hellion to do all the damage that she can.
In Radiance, may we find victory.
Alright, I'm actually going to go this way. I'm starting to suspect that the Locust Beacon is somewhere up in the upper right corner.
Grievous injury. Palpable fear.
Yeah, the polyps are very dangerous when they have teammates. Once they're forced into the front, they're not really dangerous anymore, but while they're farther back, they can cause serious problems. Okay. If it bleeds on the polyp, there's a reasonable chance of getting rid of it. It failed to, but it had a chance. Right. And I'm just gonna have the Vestal move back. So that's arguably kind of meaningless if they keep using Banish. If they keep using abilities like Banish and Fetch, it won't really do any good. So far we've had Phlegm and Gnash instead. We've had Gnashing of Phlegm. Wailing and Gnashing of Phlegm. But here it comes, Banish. I really just need to recognize that my position is meaningless. Oh, great. This is bad. This is apocalyptically bad. Right, stun that. Stun the antibody. Or not. Okay, we're in real trouble. Okay, that's good. We resisted both banishes. Now we just have to deal with 1 Gnash and 1 dot,
As
1
life
tick of
ebbs,
damage over time.
Terrible vistas of emptiness reveal themselves.
Or not. Okay, we have a death blow. That's our second fatality for this mission. Vent your frustrations on the polyp. Just make the polyp gone. Smite on the antibody. Really low critical hit chance, so probably won't kill. One polyp is gone. The antibody is almost gone. So, of course, it lingers on with its one final hit point. And, of course, Mark followed, and then Nash benefits from marking, doesn't it? Well, Zealous Accusation is getting the antibody, leaving us with just the Fleshhound and the Polyp. Adrenaline Rush will get Hellion off of Death's Door. Though maybe I should have just attacked and benefited from the Martyr's Seal. And Tina is at Death's Door again. And she's still at Death's Door. And let's exploit the damage boost from the Martyr's Seal.
Obliterated.
I will feast on your heart! Okay. Now I can at least use Inspiring Cry to restore her hit points. Because now it's reduced to just using Violent Hack, but without a main healer...
The ground quakes.
Alclara! Okay, without a main healer, we are not winning this. I'm going to go into the next room on the off chance that this room contains the Locust Beacon. You know, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. This looks a very large amount like a Locust Beacon.
A powerful blow.
So, our chances of winning this mission are indistinguishable from zero, but I'm gonna try, because here's the thing. Best case scenario, retreating saves one of these two. And then I know that the Locust Beacon is... Yep, quest location, confirmed. And then I still know that the Locust Beacon is here. So I know how to get back here. I know how to get to the Locust Beacon on the next mission. So, I'm going to gamble that we can actually take this thing down. And if we can take it down, then we've won. If we can take it down, we've won the mission. And if I fail, then we've lost one more hero than we would have lost otherwise. I'm actually going to gamble on Stunning Blow. And fail. Okay, Digestion's what it's going for. Displace this time on the Crusader. Displace is essentially meaningless at this point, though. Alright, I'm going to stick with Stunning Blow on the off chance that it manages to stun. Alright, Gilpin is going to be at Death's Door. I'm just basically gambling on the power of the Martyr's Seal. I am risking some trinkets, but we can retrieve those thanks to the, Though, both of my heroes have elevated death blow resistance. Okay, where are we now? Okay. And this is where I draw the line. We're no longer in the quest location, so we can't kill the, We're no longer in the quest location, so we can't just try to just raw damage our way through this. Retreat for... I'm not allowed to retreat. Okay, well, first we're gonna kill these things. In theory, anyway. Anti-Venom and Smite, which does almost nothing. Okay, I really should heal Gilpin. He doesn't receive any benefit from being at Death's Door, so I may as well heal him. By comparison, Tinel actually is more powerful because she is at Death's Door thanks to the Martyrs.
Injury and despondence set the stage for heroism.
This will be my last battle.
Or cowardice.
I'm really liking the decision to equip both of these heroes with trinkets that increase their death blow resistance. Alright, I'm going with Wicked Hack because... Oh, come on. Okay. Yeah, that reduced accuracy from being at death's door. That's a bit of a problem.
Feeding the evil therein.
And again, it won't let me retreat from combat, so I have to fight these things until they're gone. I still don't understand what determines whether or not I'm allowed to retreat from combat. Of course, now I get the critical hit I needed last time. I don't honestly think Tina is going to win this fight. I mean, even with her very high level of death blow resistance, she's just taking so many hits that it's not going to happen. Though we're getting close. I just need one more critical or 2 regular hits and we win. But that means I have to survive quite a bit. On the other hand, Tino, you know, it seems rather appropriate for the Hellion to be the one to just say, you know what, screw this, I ain't dying today. Okay, well, you drop some of the food reserves.
Victory, but a victory nonetheless.
We're getting out of here. With Tino, our sole survivor.
But not the end of things.
However, we get a little bit of gold, which is technically profit because we didn't pay for these supplies on the way in, and at the very least, we save everyone's equipment. No, we didn't lose any of our heroes' trinkets, but... Okay, so I know the location of the, I know what I'm up against, and I know the location.
Surplus. A rare and wonderful thing.
And now we have even more extra supplies. So... supply costs and provision costs are lower. Okay, that was rather harrowing, but I'm going to be completely honest. That mission went better than I expected it to go. I know what I'm up against, I know what the enemy can do, and I know where I need to get within the dungeon in order to win the mission. So, that was significant progress, even if it came at a fairly significant cost. Anyway, this isn't going to be the end of this episode. But I am going to get a fresh recording file, so I will be back in a moment.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
Okay, I am back, and in the few seconds that I was gone, I spent some time thinking about how I could actually complete that Darkest Dungeon run, and thinking about which heroes I would use. And I'm thinking I really need a Mark Exploitation team in order to do it. So... I'm thinking probably a Houndmaster, a Bounty Hunter, and a Arablest, and then probably a Vestal to fill the team out. Anyway, now we need to get some new recruits to replace all the dead people. And 2 of the classes that I just mentioned are in the list of new recruits. You can get a Houndmaster.
A lawman and his faithful beast. A bond forged by battle and bloodshed.
And a Bounty Hunter. So the question is, who else do we want? Well, I have room for 1 more. Sorting by class, which class do we have the most, or the fewest of? We only have 2 grave robbers. How many occultists? We only have 1 occultist who hasn't been to the Darkest Dungeon yet. So, I think I'll actually take the occultist.
To fight the abyss, one must know it.
And while I know supply costs are reduced, we're already kind of low on funds, so let's look into again to get another mission. Another profane scroll? We just got one of those. Let's see. Where are my antiquaries? Let's go back to sorting by level, because I actually know how to find people when they're sorted by level. Let's see. What are my options? Honestly, I'm actually liking the look of this short champion mission with, Who would I bring? I definitely want to bring Fairfax, who can go in position 4. But who else? Let's bring Touche, the leper. I kind of want to bring Moncel, but at the same time, just ignore the fact that I just accidentally muted the game for a second. I kind of want to bring Moncel, but at the same time, his equipment is only upgraded to level 3. So I'll bring Bisnois, and for our last team member, Boisson. So we have a decent main here. Alright, I like Fairfax's abilities. Unequip all trinkets. Sort of a character class, and let's get the Carapace Idol and the Candle of Life. Let's see, for you, neither of your incenses is really helpful here. However, you're definitely getting the Ancestor's Scroll. Question is, what else? Honestly, I'll just give him the Siren's Conch. Reduced stress, increased debuff resistance. Alright. Now for you, what can I do that would increase your accuracy? Well, let's look at the leper-specific equipment. None of that would do it. I really don't have the best leper-specific trinkets anymore. Saving the Ancestor's Pen for the Hellion. I'll give him the Flesh's Heart. And honestly, let's go with the Necromancer's Collar. Because the Hellion, who is the lowest level, gets the Ancestor's Portrait and the Ancestor's Pen. It's risky to have that many things that increase stress. Also, let's trade Vulnerability Hex for Sacrificial Stab on our Occultist. It's risky to have that many things that increase stress on the same hero, especially when that hero is a little low level to be on this mission. But it's a short mission, so I think we'll get away with it. Food, a flickering supplier, 3 shovels. Not much reason to have anti-venom. Not a lot of more reason to have bandages, but still not very much. I think there's at least one interaction that uses medicinal herbs, but I'm still just gonna have 1 medicinal herbs and 8 torches, and that should do it for us. Embark. And let's see what we can get. Of course, the main goal is just to loot the place.
Pace out the halls of your lineage once familiar, now foreign.
Okay. Relatively straightforward. We just have 1 bit of backtracking that we have to do. Nope, I want to interact with the box. Don't need the heirlooms, but the minor antique is good. And in our first fight, we already have a ghoul and a witch, because they decide oh, your team is vulnerable to stress? Well, let me give you all the stress I got. If it bleeds...
Precision and power.
It bleeds. Well, we're not going to have to deal with stressful incantation. Let's see what we can do about the ghoul now. And 59% to hit. Yeah, Touche is basically just here as a meat shield.
Death. Unforeseen. Unforgiving.
Adrenaline rush. Ooh, critical adrenaline rush. Though getting a critical on a skill that applies a buff does not extend the duration of the buff, I don't think. In the meantime, let's just stack Weakening Curse. Reduces protection to 0. Might as well go with Fortifying Vapors. Chop has a low chance to hit, but when it hits, it hits.
Monster's size has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
And I think Darkest Dungeon is making fun of me for worrying about the Hellions. How did I mix up Vestal and Hellion? They're kind of the opposite of each other. But the game is kind of making fun of me for worrying about the Hellion's mental state, considering the fact that she actually ended the fight with less stress than she had at the beginning. Okay, more antiques. Best thing about the antiques is how high they stack. Also, I know I only need to explore 90% of rooms, but I'm probably exploring all of them in the hopes of finding more antiques. Right. Light up another torch. Assuming the torch supply holds out, that is. Disarm the trap. Eat the food. And, yep, room battle with treasure. I'm realizing I can't recall ever encountering a room that had treasure in it that didn't also have a room battle. I think there's just always a battle if there's treasure. Okay, and this battle is going to be a bit of a challenge. Mainly because we have to deal with a lot of stressful incantation. And stressful incantation does a lot. It's not quite on the level of Fate's Reveal yet, but it's still pretty bad.
Eradicated.
Okay, never mind. We're only going to have to deal with a little bit of stressful incantation. Yeah, let's reduce that 50% protection to something less than 50%. Like 30%. And poison always works. Unfortunately, even maximally upgraded Festering Vapors doesn't do very much. Touché needs some stress treatment. Again, the game seems to be mocking me for worrying about the Hellion's mental state. So that's the end of paying attention to the gargoyle. That just leaves the brawlers. Yeah, Sacrificial Stab will not one-shot even if it does hit. 7 to 13 plus 3 versus 10 to 19 plus 0. I'm going for if it bleeds. And it doesn't matter. Go with Hue based on the idea that it has a better chance of at least hitting something. Unfortunately, not better enough.
Compassion is a rarity in the fevered pitch of battle.
And, yeah, weird reconstruction. It's interesting how weird the behavior of weird reconstruction is. That is, because of the way its damage roll works, it can get a critical that heals fewer hit points than a normal, than a higher healing roll without being a critical. And so it's just interesting that the ability with weird in its name tends to behave very weirdly.
A faint hope blossoms.
I realize it's not the same version of weird, but it still is funny. We're almost there. And it is just not your day, Touché. Come on, the guy's already got leprosy. He has enough problems. Leave him alone. There we go.
These nightmarish creatures can be felled. They can be beaten.
And open the heirloom chest with the key and get a rare antique and some food.
If you value such things.
The impressive hall for the people who like that kind of thing. Definitely not me. I mean, alright, let's once again, open up with the weakening curse, not that it matters. Festering vapors, I mean. And no luck. And even less luck.
Festering fear consumes the mind.
Hey. And enemy stress abilities consume the torch level.
Dazed, reeling, about to break.
Yeah, that extra stress from those ancestral trinkets is showing its effects. You know what, yeah, finish off the cultist.
Maintain the offensive.
May as well go with Fortifying Vapors, get some healing in. We're almost operating with a 3-person team, but I think we can make it work. Just keep Weakening Curse going,
strike.
making up for the previous miss. And oh, and the Hellion can still attack from this range. Of course, the biggest issue with being underleveled is not something you think about so much, it's accuracy. The biggest issue with a hero being underleveled relative to the mission is the fact that their attacks just hit less often.
Impressive.
That and also reduces stress resistance, which can actually get you in some real trouble. Okay. Festering Vapors does a maximum of 1, and I would need it to do 2 to actually kill the thing.
A time to perform beyond one's limit.
So I'll just let the occultist finish the job.
Foolish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
Okay, so Confession Booth with Holy Water reduces a hero's stress level. I know that now. Unfortunately, it is a near certainty that somebody's resolve gets tested on this mission. Question is what happens to them, especially since we're running out of torches. I assumed 8 would be enough for a short mission, and it appears I was wrong. I'm not gonna be able to explore the whole place, apparently, because, we're probably gonna limp across. Honestly, we're probably just gonna limp across the finish line on this one. We're not gonna finish this one in style like we have with some of the others. Not interacting with that or that. Go have another torch, so we're on our last one. Okay.
Annihilated.
Another fool for the fire. Okay. Oh, looks like we're gonna have a use for that anti-venom. Hack. And it narrowly survives. Q with oh nice.
As the enemy
Q with only a 49% chance to hit, but he made it work. Nervous stab, 1 point less than I needed it to get. But sacrificial stab will finish the job.
Give them no quarter.
Yeah, the difference is Boissel ain't nervous. He's seen the worst of it. He's not nervous right now. It is no coincidence that the guy who's been to the darkest dungeon has the lowest stress level right now. Okay, that may technically be a coincidence, mechanically speaking, but I choose to imagine that after his experience with the darkest dungeon and the Templars, nothing really scares Boissel anymore as long as he's not in the darkest dungeon. It's like, oh, you want me to go to the ruins? Pfft, that's nothing. I can handle ruins. Okay, I'm gonna go this way, gambling that these curios are the kind of curios that we can benefit from. Whoa.
Ambushed by foul invention.
And Hellions' resolve is tested, and she's courageous. We are here, foes. Come make your end. And she also reduces everyone else's stress.
Finding the stuff is only the first
And I forgot
test.
to have the Hellion interact.
Now it must be carried home.
Antiquarian interact. I keep confusing the Hellion with other people. It's another way in which working for me is the worst job ever. Your boss can't even be bothered to remember your name. And I'm actually going to go take on this hallway battle in this curio just in case they're useful. Because, well, we're broke right now and we need money. But we got some pretty good loot. Alright, please don't be a shambler. Please don't be a shambler. Please do not be a shambler. It could be the collector. Oh, we're about to find out. Nope, it's just another one of these. Okay, let's just have everybody concentrate on the cultist because we can kill him first. Howl is significantly less meaningful when we have somebody courageous.
The abyss returns even the boldest gaze.
And yeah, just Wassel, just keep weakening curse going on the ghoul. Unfortunately, we have very low torch level, and one of our team members is a leper.
Quickly the tide turns.
That's going to be a bit of a problem. Okay. Good chance of chop connecting, 64%. Okay. Look at me. You are going to make it. All of you. Also, festering vapors is actually necessary to this operation. Congratulations. Congratulations, Fairfax. You did something that was necessary.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
And Howl, of course.
Knowing uncertainty.
Oh, wait, of course it's using Howl. Howl is reducing the torch level. The stress isn't even that important.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Yeah. Not so scary
As
without your
victories
protection
mount,
stat, are you?
So too will resistance.
And no more enemies, it's just one more curio. And it's exactly the kind of curio I was hoping it would be. And antiques. Okay, we're completely out. We're completely out of torch.
The
Let's
great
get out of
ruins
here.
belong to us, and we will find whatever secrets they hold.
Are we sure we want to? Are we really sure we want to find the secrets? Because, you know, we saw what in that intro that plays at the beginning when I start up the game, we saw what happened when you decided to find whatever secrets something held. And how'd that turn out for you? Okay, and everyone is resolved level 6 now. Okay. A wheeled foe, who's known as a wheeled phobe and a skilled gambler. Ooh. Wassel has 15% move resist. That is good. And Fairfax is obsessed with cleanliness. I'm not sure what that one does.
I see something long absent in the sunken faces of passers-by. A glimmer of hope.
Okay, now that we have money, that's what I see. I see something long absent, a glimmer of money, a glimmer of solvency. Alright. What? Will not pray or flagellate. In town will only drink. Okay. Well, works for me. Alright. So by level. So who is currently level 6 would benefit from being upgraded? Alright. Okay, we have Vilhardane. Okay, where is our level 6 occultist who isn't Wassel? I know we have one. I think we have one. Wait, I don't need an occultist for my plan. So, okay, so then who is level 6 that doesn't have maxed out equipment? That's Saisei. I think that's how you pronounce his name. after that, Losbeville can't be further upgraded without leveling up a Moncel cannon. And last thing is the low-level people also need some attention. Low-level people, and let's look into upgrading their abilities also. Upgrade the standard Vestal skill set. Collect bounty, mark for death, flashbang, and caltrops. Right, the Houndmaster's already good. Evelyn. Yeah, Crush, Rampart, Defender, and Retribution. And we still have a little bit of gold left, but I'm not going to hold on to that for now. Though, does the Nomad Wagon have anything particularly good? No, it doesn't. At some point, I'm going to need to sell some of my excess trinkets again. Though part of the reason why I hold on to some redundant trinkets is that my hero is in case I lose one when someone dies. Though I gotta admit, I'm really... One of the very few things that went well in that Darkest Dungeon run from the beginning of the episode is I managed to save all of the gear that people were carrying when they died. Because they were carrying some very valuable gear. Now, we've given the experienced people a couple of runs. And I stopped mid-sentence as I realized that I could potentially get the Ancestor's Signet Ring. The thing about the Signet Ring is the increased accuracy and protection could be really useful for to cover the weaknesses of a leper. Let's see, what kind of team could I assemble for this mission? So, let's say a Man-at-Arms, an Abomination, and a... could bring one of my two very experienced Vestals. So, yeah, because yes, I am considering going for the, because the thing is, this could go really well on a, leper. Because it increases his accuracy, and also high protection would go very well with his, skill set. So let's see, Bill Hardane, who is already fully upgraded. Dureri. Now we shouldn't do this without a main healer, so let's say Druel. And Saisei, who just got fully upgraded. And so the question is who gets position 2. Ideally, I would put a Bounty Hunter or a Houndmaster there if we had either of those at champion level. Well, we have a Resolve level 4 Houndmaster for what it's worth. Oh, wait, we have Valance, of course. Alright, as usual, unequip all trinkets. Sort by character class restriction. Starting with you. Bullseye bandana and the Wrathful bandana. Actually, hold on a second. "15 accuracy at 3 speed, and then it's 2 speed and 6% critical ranged skills. I'm actually going to try that instead. The Prophet's Eye and the Fuseman's Matchstick on my position 4 Aura Blast. Vestal gets what the Vestal always gets, the Sacred Scroll and the Tome of Holy Healing. Profane Scroll would be good if we were bringing a... we're definitely bringing the Cudgel weight, but... let's see. And I'll go with Vol's Tassel on you. Actually, hold on a second. I have an idea. I'll give the matchstick to the Houndmaster, who also, his Hound skills are still ranged skills. And then Wolf's Tassel I can give to the Arablest. This also allows the Arablest to be slower than the Houndmaster, which means that the Houndmaster can mark targets for the Arablest. And, of course, the Rampart Shield, and, as usual, the other one is the Flesh's Heart. Okay, let's see if we can do this. Got a team of the best heroes that money and experience can buy. Get them plenty of supplies. Bring plenty of torches. Though we do have a light granting ability this time. A couple of holy waters. A couple of those. A little bit of flickering. Some bandages, and I think 2 anti-venom should be enough. Okay, let's see if we can do this. So that's 2 different highly dangerous missions that I decided to do in a single
These
episode.
salt-soaked caverns are
I
teeming
just don't know
with
when to
pelagic
quit.
nightmares. They must be flushed out.
Is there anything? No. No positive curio interactions with the coral. And I realize how unusual this is for me, but in this episode, in this mission, with how dangerous things already are,
spring to life with a singular purpose.
with how dangerous things already are, I'm not going to be taking any unnecessary risks. Okay, target whistle. The witch is actually the most dangerous right now. Resisted the debuff, but you can't resist being marked. Spearfishing, even if it causes the movement, isn't a big deal. Dazzle, the one that hasn't acted yet, especially since it might prevent him from using a guarding ability. That's Rampart in there. And, yeah, you actually still isn't certain that you'll one-shot the witch, and you won't. However, I can finish the witch off with Crush. So, target whistle reduces protection, and it reduces protection by a lot, too. Thing is, I can't afford to let the witch live, but I actually have a natural solution to that. The Vestal can't use Divine Grace right now anyway. Oh, she also can't use Judgment. Well, Dazzling Light will at least stun the witch when we finish her off next turn. In the meantime, Sniper Shot on this guy. This one will take a couple of shots to get rid of. And of course he uses Barnacle Barrier. Exactly what I was trying to prevent. I don't think we can stun him out of that. We cannot! And I don't have Hound's Harry equipped. In that case, why don't you do Hound's Move and get back into formation? And that is why I used Defender. Rampart can't reach the champion. So, let's go with Crush. Increased critical chance against Mark, but still not quite enough just yet. That champion is not going down. Also, so the AI isn't programmed to take guarding into account in any way whatsoever. So it used, because it used Eldritch Pull on the Arablest, who is being guarded by the Man-at-Arms, which and the Man-at-Arms is in position 1. So the Man-at-Arms cannot possibly be moved forward by Eldritch Pull, but it uses Eldritch Pull anyway. So the AI basically doesn't know when a character is...
Press this advantage. Give them no quarter.
The AI basically doesn't know when a character is guarded. That's worth remembering. And it's overkill, but it's kill, and kill is what I need. Over or otherwise.
Them all.
Let's go for a quick heal of everyone. This team kind of falls in the middle in terms of move resistance, or, in terms of move tolerance, rather. They have some they have a degree of ability to continue functioning when they're out of place, but for the most part, they have a position they really prefer to be in. But basically, the man-at-arms need to be in the front half. The Arablest and the Vestal need to be in the rear half, and the Houndmaster can be anywhere. There we go.
Annihilated.
Praise the steadfast hound. Get some healing in. Praise the goodest of warriors.
Confidence
and there we go.
surges as the enemy crumbles.
Okay. This grants a buff. I'm not sure what exactly the kind of buff is. Damage until camp. That's really good. Okay, and we did have to go that way because there was a rune battle, and we're gonna have to go through. There's gonna be some backtracking, just a little bit, a lot of backtracking. Two enemies you can dazzle are fundamentally the same as each other, but I'm going to try to dazzle one and rampart the other. Because if we can, I want to deny them the chance to take any actions. Okay, this could one-shot him. Just barely not. And that also moved the Tidemaster back so he doesn't have to do Stumbling Scratch. And line up another target. Valance sets him up. Vilhardin knocks him down. In theory, anyway.
Decimated.
That's much more like what we were going for. Okay, Sea Breeze. That is less than good. And Mist Crush, also less than good. Though, keeping these enemies alive is kind of doing me some good because at least lets me set up additional, actually I go for target this. I could do Hound's Rush on the Mark champion, but one thing he doesn't have is increased stun resistance. I'm just going to try to stun him. He says as he almost selects Crush instead of Rampart, having already forgotten his own plan. 4 to 8, so there's a chance for a kill, and we got a kill.
Broken. Maintain the offensive.
And marked or not, Hound's Rush is the way to go. Yes, I'm stalling. Battlefield Bandage. I'm finishing him off with Dazzling Light. The stun doesn't matter.
As the
torch
fiend
level
falls,
matters.
a faint hope blossoms.
One of the things you learn in these longer...
Another mariner?
Oh, shit.
Another misfortune.
Should have known I was forgetting something. Because I always forget something. Finding a way to forget obvious things. That's really my whole style. Pack has already been looted. Yeah, we're gonna have to go all the way down both paths. But then again, this is a mission that gets us an ancestral trinket. I never
Without
expected it
tools
to be
of iron,
easy.
you must rely on flesh and indefatigable purpose.
Alright. In other words, when you're not good at your job, at least be determined. Alright. Ow. Putting him on a torch. Okay, they have one more guy that hasn't acted yet. Let's see if we can keep him from doing so. And a one-shot would be immensely appreciated. So we get just barely not a one-shot. I'm actually going to go for the witch, and it doesn't matter because she dodged. Alright, there. The witch is finally... Ding dong, the witch is dead. Which old witch? The cultist witch. Alright. And Sniper's Mark, which I believe reduces evasion. If they don't resist it. So he gets one stumbling scratch, and then the hound should be able to finish the job. Ow. See, that doesn't cause stress at least.
Destroyed.
Or Vilhardane just gets a critical. Dazzle the Stinger. Even better. And he can't use Cry Havoc when he's in position 2. But I can afford to move him into position 3 for a moment. And yep, I'm just gonna spend a round healing before I kill this thing with Crush, assuming Crush hits. Ooh, very successful Cry Havoc. Gotta keep the stress levels down at least a little bit. Okay, looks like it gets one more round of life. Which means I get one more round of Cry Havoc. And there we go.
Seize this momentum. Push on to the task's end.
I'll hold on to the stuff we've currently got. And salvaging an unburnt torch. It'd be nice if we could find some shovels, but I can't reasonably expect that. And a squiffy ghast. Of course. Frankly, it was inevitable considering. Well, I have an idea. It's very likely the ghast will move himself into position 1 where the Arbalest won't be able to hit him. So I'm going to use, instead I'll use Target Whistle. I mean, instead I'll use Target Whistle on the champion. Because the champion will definitely be... Oops. I was worried about the ghast moving into position 1. I failed to consider the possibility that the champion would do that. Well, the thing is, the ghast has very high dodge and 0 protection, so Sniper's Mark is more useful anyway. Except he resisted it. But yep, he's in position 1 now. I'll try to hit him with Crush. And also try to hit him with Dazzling Light, though I really should have gone for the champion.
The promise of safety.
Okay, he used Barnacle Barrier, but not on the guy I was afraid he would. He guards the ghast for in real trouble. Fortunately, since there are 2 different marked enemies, and they can't ever both be in position 1 at the same time, I have something for the Houndmaster to miss, and I have something for the Arbalest to also miss. Okay, Vilhardane actually managed to hit. And off-kilter Jig. Hey, Mr. Ghast, no matter how you move, you will always be within range of the Houndmaster. One of the best things about Hound's Rush. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where the target is, you can always attack. I'll admit Hound's Rush has some accuracy issues. I still need the ghast to die. So I'm going to risk use Hound's Rush even though I could target the champion. Praise the steadfast Hound. Judgment, 4 to 8. Or 0 when it misses.
Such a
crit for the old gods.
Cannot be left unanswered.
And I'll just kill you with my shield.
A dizzying blow to body and brain.
Really glad I fully upgraded Sideset's equipment, though. Okay, sniper's mark. And take him away. Or not. Let's get the rampart. Get the rampart in there. And in preparation for something I'm going to do later, I'm going to move the Vestal forward one. There we go. It's the end of the Tide Master. Unfortunately, we're doing just barely not enough damage to one-shot the enemies when they're marked. Okay. Stun resistance is 115%, so 5% chance to stun, or just go with Crush. Vestal doing the one thing that matters, which is Divine Comfort. Just keep everybody healed.
Sedated.
Just keep up with the Cry Havoc, because we're gonna need it. Honestly, I see resolve tests in our future. I see numerous resolve tests in our future.
Impressive.
Ooh, critical bolus. I mean, the critical was on the corpse, so it barely matters, but a critical is a critical. I wonder if it's possible for stress abilities to get criticals. I think it is. Alright. Before the fight goes on too much longer, we'll need to actually kill this thing. So, start doing that. Unfortunately, its damage resistance is frankly absurd. Alright, 6. Yeah, it's gonna take a little while for this thing to finish dying. You know, Mr. Champion, you could run away. I mean, you wouldn't die, and we wouldn't have to kill you, and I'm really not seeing a downside to this idea of you just running away, so why don't you just run away? There we go.
As victories mount, so too will resistance.
I didn't bring any keys either. I was really not as prepared as I thought I was. Did bring medicinal herbs, though. You know, we have to come back through here anyway. May as well just use them on the way back. And we have our first thrall. Did you know that they explode if left alone for too long?
Confusion, nerves.
For justice. And yeah, they don't get to explode on their first turn after being hit. It's always on their second. And finish it off with Bolus. An ability that does almost nothing. And Crush. Won't get one hit, but won't one-shot it, but it's at least close. Wait, how is that close in any... Like, it missed. How is that close by any stretch of the imagination? Now to go bandage the Man-at-Arms. Still going for Divine Comfort, because I want the opportunity to use Cry Havoc again. I'm using that a lot, because we need the stress reduction. Dazzling Miss. Nine to 17 without a critical, or a critical, and then it's just gone. And the Stinger has decided to prove that it really is your last hit point's the only one that matters. And a free shovel. I'm actually going to drop
creatures
dirt
can
for
be
that.
felled. They can be beaten.
Right. Once again, I'll leave. Oh. And it has a map. That's actually the most useful thing we could have found. So, well, depending on how far the scouting goes. Just barely not far enough to do us any good. We still have to go all the way down there. So, it revealed a trap and otherwise accomplished nothing. Let's disarm the tentacle monster, because it is apparently possible to disarm a tentacle monster. I don't know, maybe he just finds a big boulder in the water and drops it in the water. Okay. One more torch. Okay. And the pack's contents are mine. I just realized I declared a moratorium on looting and then looted.
Performed.
Right. Well, we found the one shovel that we need. Okay. Sniper's mark. Dazzling light on the one all the way in the front. Even if it misses, we get torch level. Hound's rush. Okay. And man's crush. Alright, still gonna take. Alright. Still have to deal with that piranha for a moment. We're gonna take a lot of damage before this round is over. Ooh, we've already got a mortality debuff.
And now, the true test. Hold fast, or expire.
He says as one of the enemies expires. Alright, at least he's not afflicted. That's good. So he's not going to refuse to be healed. Oh, great.
Perched at the very
This is going to be one of those, isn't it? Okay. There's no way he's one-shotting that without it being marked, so throw a target whistle in the hopes that someone else goes before the last piranha does. Her chances of one-shotting it are low, but not zero. Okay, it doesn't. Okay, I guess she provoked it into spearfishing her. That's good enough. We would set up defender on the hound map. Of course, the man-at-arms isn't really looking too much better. Really, everybody needs some help. I'm not giving up. Crush would have been nice if it hadn't missed. Okay, that's the end of another one of them. Keeping up Sniper's mark. When the debuff works, it does a good job of dealing with their impressive evasion. Unfortunately now, because he's defending someone, the man-at-arms has a lot of incoming attacks to deal with.
Eradicated.
And Valance is still a little mad at them for putting him at death's door and has decided to make his displeasure known. Alright, if we can move that thing, that'd be really helpful. Perfect. Get some healing, including a very badly needed critical healing. And now that he's in position 2, with no abilities that move himself forward, we can use Sniper's mark on him. Yeah, the last remaining piranha is about to have a very bad day. That's one. He does get one last screw you in the form of Seaward Slash, except that managed to miss too. You know, I'm gonna let the man-at-arms finish the job. He's been really essential to this. I'll let him do the honors.
Ghoulish horrors. Brought low and driven into the mud.
Right. Wish we could have just gone a few feet before setting the loot aside so I could use my one shovel. I'm not sure whether I want there to be room battles in here or not. I mean, on the one hand, it would like justify coming all the way through here, but on the other hand, it means we have to fight something. And that's something with a crazy person. And a very large crab. Okay, the stress levels are already very high. We need the Madman dealt with. And we can't do anything about the Tide Master because he's farther back. So... move resistance and stun resistance are both 90%. Just go ahead Retribution and wear the Madman down a little bit while we're at it. 15 to 27, so it could one-shot, and it does. I mean, technically it only did 26, but the one damage that that Retribution... Which means setting up Retribution was actually necessary to get rid of the Madman. Alright. Whoever goes first, mark a target. Okay, and this is one where we really want the target whistle rather than sniper's mark. Dazzling Light's chance of stunning is actually literally nil. And it can't reach the guy all the way in the back. 13 to 25. Or 37 if you get a critical. Trying to use Defender, but on who? Let's block the Vestal just because she's the most fragile. And so of course he doesn't target the Vestal. It was a pretty ineffective tidal slam, all told. I gotta give Valance some credit. He's doing a very good job of holding himself together. I'm actually going to concentrate on the Savage in spite of Seabreeze. We can outdamage the healing even without consistently getting critical, just because of how much damage we're doing with our Mark Exploitation abilities. And this time the stun resistance is only 90%. Which is good enough, apparently. Especially since he doesn't use his healing ability that often.
Monstrous size has no intrinsic merit, unless inordinate exsanguination be considered a virtue.
Alright, now we should deal with the Tide Master. Alright, it gets some healing.
A devastating blow.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm really glad I keep Bolus around. It's a really helpful ability. It gives him something to do when him? Why am I calling the It gives the Arabless something to do when the enemy is all the way forward, but it also has movement properties when I need them.
Can be healed, but
Alright.
never hidden. Be wary. Triumphant pride precipitates a dizzying fall.
Can I drop? I'll drop the smallest stack of gold for the shovel. Okay, and we have to investigate the last room. Lots of loot. I'll give this dungeon credit. It's very good about its loot options. Okay. 91% to hit. And we have a kill. Crush by itself probably won't do it, and Hound's Rush by itself probably won't do it, but two of them, by their power combined, they can. Or actually, we can do it with just Hound's Rush because of critical. Now we're already down to Ceremonial Cut. Once again, I'm actually going to move the vessel forward a bit. Because I gotta manage stress somehow. And there we go. Again, demonstrating the benefits of keeping bolus.
This expedition at least promises success.
Okay, we're out of holy water this time. so I can't interact with that thing in the background. Yes, I'm already assuming we'll survive. Perhaps I shouldn't be. Okay, I have an idea. Let's start by taking out the two piranhas because they're fragile. They may be less dangerous, but they're significantly way to get rid of them. Especially when the Arbalest gets a critical hit. Unfortunately, Saisei did his job a little bit too well because I really didn't want to. Why did I just do that? I marked the wrong target. Well, crush. Ow. Now let's go with Bulwark. Now let's put the Vestal back in position to be pushing the wrongs. Oh, arterial pinch. They're breaking out all their good abilities all of a sudden. Alright. So much blood. You know, when you lose 10 hit points to a single tick of bleeding, that really is what you would say. Just back into a little bit of better shape. And we're going to need to mark this thing anyway. Though I should probably use Target Whistle to reduce its protection. In fact, I think I will next turn. Meantime, yeah, Sniper Shot against a marked target only did 9. Vestal has no excuse to be doing anything other than healing right now. Ooh. Sorry, Valance, it is really just not your day. That Divine Grace didn't even restore as many hit points as he's going to lose from his first tick of damage over time. Arterial Pinch is dangerous. In fact, is there any attack that does more bleeding damage than Arterial Pinch? Okay, finally somebody resists the bleeding at least. And that's the end of him, so we may as well get some healing in. There we go.
Great is the weapon that cuts on its own.
So we did need to come back here, and it's time to make camp. We need some healing. And we need some stress healing.
Huddled together, furtive and vulnerable. Rats in a maze.
Okay, so the first thing we need is Sanctuary. Which also will heal and reduce the stress of the Houndmaster. I could have used Hound's Watch, but... Therapy Dog. What else do I want to do? I have 5 time units left. Weapons Practice would cost 4. Prey would cost 3. And... Encourage would cost 2. I'm going to go with Prey. And then I'll encourage the Vestal and get the stress levels to be at least manageable. Okay.
The match is struck. A blazing star is born.
Alright. Unfortunately, we're almost out of bandages.
Finding the stuff is only the first test. Now it must be carried home.
I'm gonna drop the medicinal. I'm gonna gamble and drop the medicinal herbs in exchange for the sapphire. Actually, in hindsight, I probably should have dropped the almost empty stack of food instead. Though I don't know, since one of our people eats reduced amounts of food due to stress, we have that's enough to stave off hunger once. I just need to get back out of this cul-de-sac and get back to the rest of the dungeon. And another map of stuff we already know. Oh, the person who's a stress eater is low enough, is a stress faster, I mean, is low enough stress that it doesn't matter anymore. Alright. We're almost done with the backtracking. At least it went by quickly. I forgot that there was a fish carcass back here that I now can't interact with because I don't have medicinal herbs. This is what happens when you don't plan. Right. And we're past the halfway point on getting the signet ring. Unless something truly terrible manages to happen, we're probably okay. Sniper's mark. In the interest of getting this done quickly, I'm actually going to use one of the dog treats. And still not do very much damage to the crusher.
The way is lit. The path is clear. We require only the strength to follow it.
Okay, I'm liking the decision to use the dog treats. It still is going to take a while. That's a savage, not a crusher. A crusher is the previous level of Uea.
The decisive.
Wow, we just got all the criticals today. Oh, wow, our luck has really turned around from this fight. I wonder how long it'll last. Now, that long is how long it'll last. Actually, that only restored 14 hits. Alright, a little more. Actually, I need a critical kill. Now I don't, but we're out of actions. And we're almost out of... And we're about to be out of... Oh, she resisted. We were about to be out of bandages until she resisted bleeding. On these kinds of missions, I really should remember just not to use bandages on anything other than arterial pinch.
A victory. Perhaps the turning point.
Snipers mark on the Tide Master. But I'm actually just going to let the maggot live for a little while. And try to keep stunning it, though. Their turn, but unfortunately the Tide Master is fast. Well, you know, to save on the quick and the dead, I suppose. Yes, I realized that was a really
The
bad
ground
one.
quakes.
Exactly where I called it. Alright. The stun resistance, even elevated, is only 90%, so we can still stun it. Now we can't anymore. Armored maggot down to its last hit point. Let's take that hit point away.
Remind yourself that
I'm
overconfidence
not
is
using
a
my
slow
only
and
shovel
insidious
on
killer.
the chest. And we finally have scouting again. Ooh, generous scouting too. Unfortunately, the other thing the game was generous with was room battles, and you know, that's a kind of generosity I feel I could do without.
Hacks laden with loot are often low on supplies.
Considering the fact that his chance of showing up increases another ghast. Well, initiating the ghast protocols. See if we can reduce his evasion. We can. This is another situation that warrants a dog treat. That's not really something I thought I would ever say, but... And judgment should finish the job. Okay. I'm sure the ghast was fun while he lasted. Rampart, because I do not want him using Barnacle Barrier. Okay, now it's just the cultists and the fish. The zombie violinist is gone. can't dazzle the, yes? No, I can't. Well, it has 140% base, he has 115% resistance. I would sort of have a chance. But it really isn't worth the risk. Alright, and there he goes. That just leaves the champion. That just leaves the two melee guys. And the Pelagie champion is tired of being ignored and is demanding that we try to attack him now. Well, careful what you wish for. At least reduces protection some. Alright, get a nice good heal in there. And let's break out Retribution. I mean, he's already marked, so it doesn't make much of a difference. Okay, and now, with all of the debuffs at my disposal gathered together on the one Pelagie champion, it's time to cause some damage. Actually, as I said, I'm going to save my last bandages in case I have to deal with another Imperial pinch. I can heal through the bleeding damage.
How quickly the tide turns.
Now I really can't. Start with Battlefield Bandage. Get off to healing received. And yep, I'm using the last of my bandages. I don't think I can actually out-heal that much bleeding. Also a pretty rough situation, at least not consistently. Also, that's a pretty rough situation to be in, not being able to out-heal damage over time. More food and more gold.
Success so clearly in view.
I have no idea what I do with
Or
the
is
ship's
it merely
figurehead.
a trick of the light?
Alright. Brackish Tide? Great. Well, it wound up being a good thing. Increased blight resistance. Yeah, I suppose drinking that stuff will do that to you. What doesn't give me food poisoning makes me stronger. Alright. Protection's already pretty high. I'm gonna try to... Alright, that's the end of one of them. Now I just need to deal with the champion. Step 1. Prevent him from using Barnacle Barrier and increasing his protection further. And get some broad spectrum healing in there. I'd really like the Houndmaster to go first if he could. Or at least go before the Arabus does. And no such luck. Oh, okay, looks like instead the champion's probably going to be the last one standing. Unless everyone manages to just repeatedly miss the Tidemaster. Well, the Vestal knows how to hit him. Then again, it's really hard to miss when you're attacking with light. So I don't know, I suppose they can just cover their eyes really quickly to avoid being hit by light. Alright. And that is the end of the Tidemaster. Stun resistance is back down. Unfortunately, even if I stun it out of its defender status, it still doesn't lose the protection buff. Sniper shot. And I'm just gonna have him keep using target whistle to accumulate protection debuffs on this thing. Now it's at minus 60%, and even the man-at-arms can do meaningful damage to it. Unfortunately, bleeding is beginning to become a problem.
Ringing ears, blurred vision. The end approaches.
And Vilhardane ends the enemy the way that all enemies end, with a critical hit. And it's the way that all enemies should end. There's something just like it's weird. There's something kind of refreshingly final about killing an enemy off with a critical hit. Again, the marking part of target whistle doesn't really matter, but the protection debuff is rather important. How do you miss a maggot? Please explain this to me. Like, it can't... Did it dodge? Did the maggot suddenly move really fast and get out of the way? With its -3 speed? And finish the job with Bolus.
A trifling victory, but a victory nonetheless.
And we have bandages. He's bleeding. He's only bleeding for 3 damage for 1 more round, so he'll be okay. And entirely pointless scout. Okay, not entirely pointless. There's a tentacled lurker that we have to disarm somehow. Not sure exactly how we do that. We just feed it a sandwich so it's not hungry enough to attack us anymore. Okay, now scouting that's significantly more pointful. And we found the last room battle, so barring some kind of intense catastrophe, we should be okay. There aren't even any more hallway... Oh, there's one. So, like, if this ends up being, like, the collector or something, then we could be in some real trouble. But it isn't, and we're not. And just get to work on the piranha. And that is what it looks like when we work on a piranha. We can dazzle the maggot. And honestly, Saisei can handle the piranha in position 1 all by himself. He doesn't need any help. Well, other than possibly preventing his teammates from engaging in unsportsmanlike behavior and interfering with the match. And Saisei is clearly enraged at this violation of the sanctity of their one-on-one duel, and that allows him to get a critical hit. And Valance has decided to... Valance, who's proctoring, is not really the correct term, but I'm going with it anyway, the one-on-one fight between the piranha and Saisei, has decided to dish out a penalty for the Tide Master who decided to interfere in the duel. And interference or not, Saisei still managed to win. Okay. Judgment will not kill the maggot in 1, so we may as well try to stun it and fail. Okay, there we go. Sparkle of coin and the packs are... So it isn't the sparkle of coin that you see.
A fortune waiting to be spent.
And a third ghast, and I don't have any dog treats this time. Any enchantress, so he's in position 1. That could be an issue. Really, how much of a problem this is depends heavily on our turn order. Step 1, prevent barnacle barrier. Step 2, knock him into position 2 if possible. Step 3, May as well use bolus. And I can at least hit him with target whistle. Not that the debuff part matters. Actually, finishing this is pretty low stress. With the exception of Saisei. Saisei is not doing so well. And I'd like to take a moment to thank the cultist champion for using Ren for the old gods because you knocked your ghast into position 2. Classic mistake. Because the ghast isn't exactly helping matters by retreating into the area where it is easier for me to hit him.
The birthplace of dread.
I'm just gonna have the Vestal go for some... Vestal go for some healing and get some critical healing. Oh yeah, the healing is in fact pretty critical in this mission. Just what I was afraid of. Barnacle barrier. Well, the good news is his stun resistance buff is gone. So how we can handle this really depends on the turn order, and so far the turn order is not favoring us. Well, Valance, take your frustrations out on the cultist bridge. Okay, this is really managing to go all kinds of wrong. And yeah, Bolo will not be able to reach him because he's protected. We're just gonna have to tolerate the ghast for a bit longer. Try Rampart, but it missed. Let me guess, Dazzling Light is also going to miss. Okay, it didn't miss. And now, okay, now the ghast is done being protected. Now he's open to attack. It's just a matter of actually making that attack.
Festering fear consumes the mind.
And it's also a matter of sitting back and waiting for the resolve checks to start coming in because they're going to be happening soon. Now we get Hound's Vengeance to get rid of the ghast. So the Vestal still with Divine Comfort. Frankly, we're all pretty messed up. And Saisei is paranoid.
The walls close in. The shadows whisper of conspiracy.
Okay, that's the end of the witch. Now we just have the champion and the fish guy. The champion and the champion. That's what it is. They're both champions. Just they're different kinds of champions.
Slowly, gently. This is how a life is taken.
I'm gonna stick with Bolus and under damage both of them. And target whistle to try to erode the champion's protection a little bit. And now the Vestal is in position 1. Lovely. And the only thing she can do is move back 1. And once again, the champion, with down to his last 2 hit points, just stubbornly refuses to be taken down. More turn order shenanigans as the cultist champion decides to act last and then first. Vigorous. Our ideals bring us.
Foster hope and resilience.
Okay, just one. Okay, we're down to just the champion. If the champion is dead, long live the champion. Actually, preferably short-live the champion. This is medicine? Come on, this is a video game. How can you be surprised by healing magic? There we go. And Last little bit to do. Gonna loot the unlocked strong box, and it's a trap. But we may as well light up the last of the firewood.
Circle in the dark.
Rest up.
The battle may yet be won.
Sanctuary. Therapy dog. Let's see if we can reduce everyone's stress. Pray. And then encourage. I guess not. Alright. That didn't really accomplish very much, but it accomplished more than nothing.
May we find victory.
Well, let's get out of here. We have the signet ring, which is actually could be really helpful depending on who we equip it to.
If indeed there is such a thing.
And I got a cool 18,000 worth of loot. And a few new quirks. Most of them negative. Okay, I'm gonna need to get rid of that misses the spot. And Weapon Tinker is completely useless. Alright.
A fever of willful determination
Valiant
sweeps
spirit.
through the barracks.
That could be very helpful. Especially if you combine it with trinkets that also increase virtue chance. And T-Nell is gone missing. Who knows what she's doing. And Villardane needs to be transcepted. Anyway, this episode has gone on for quite a long while. But we've finally reached the end. So thank you all for watching. I love you all, and I will see you next time.